well, let's see what exactly he can make happen on a bigger map, on a 4-player map. To the top left, we have the Protoss player. Starting here in red, it is San in a 1-0 lead in the best-of-5 series, successful on the first map on Heavy Rain. This is a very different game now, though, since we have a 4-player map. And starting to the bottom left, we have the StarTale Zerg player. This is, of course, StarTale's very own Life, a very strong player, someone it's always tough to go up against. But these days, a little bit weak in the Protoss versus Zerg.
All right, Altazim Stronghold. I'm not sure we've seen this yet in PvZ in this tournament, at least here on the mainstream. Not quite sure about it. I'm curious to see how San will play it. A lot of Protoss play this map very greedily, and the same thing can be said for the Zergs. Be not surprised if you see triple hatchery before pool, or maybe Nexus straight into gateway, even skipping the forge for a cannon right away, simply because the distances are so large. Even in the worst case scenario for a Protoss, where he goes Nexus first and the Zerg goes for a 6 pool, even then you can defend without a quick cannon just because of the distances and the very narrow choke leading up to the main base. However, what do we see here from the Protoss, Calder?
Well, we have the Protoss starting things off immediately with the gateway, and I didn't really expect that. I thought he would go into a Nexus first here. We have gas already taken 2, and Live, of course, starting things off with at least 1 hatch. Question being right now, is he going to follow through with what you already mentioned earlier, maybe even a double hatch before pool? We see it occasionally, and it's really something that a player like Live has shown several times in the past, and he feels very, very confident on big maps.
Let's see what kind of guy he wants to be today.
Live, like actually, we talked about this yesterday briefly. Live is a player who showed us in WCS Korea that he is willing, there's by the way that probe for the double hatch before gas,
exactly,
before pool. But Live has shown us that he will pick a map like Frost over Daedalus. And Frost is a map that we're going to see later as the 4th map, if it comes to that. So he really loves to play these big 4-player maps, and Altazim Stronghold is definitely one of those. So I'm very, very curious to see if San is able to beat Live on this map, because if Live already now is able to equalize the score, then I feel it's already a big indicator what we are going to see on Frost then, since this is really Live's favorite map in the matchup.
Yeah, that's a very good point. These maps are significantly different in the way that they play out. 4-player map, larger distances. It really is different, and Live has already done something, of course, he would never dream to do on a map like Heavy Rain. Triple hatchery before spawning pool.
What do you expect from a player like San when he goes into a gateway and doesn't even start with the Nexus first, going up against someone like Live? I feel from how Live plays and what we all know about him is that it's very likely that he goes for a greedy build here. So what do you think is going to be San's strategy? Do you think he was hoping for Live to go for this build?
It's difficult to say, but it looks like San is doing everything exactly the same as he did last game. I might have missed 1 or 2 nuances because we were talking, but it does look like he's doing roughly the same thing, except, yeah, no, it looks very similar. So maybe if he adds a 4th gateway now, I guess that's an answer to what we've been wondering. I don't see... Oh yeah, the probe is already on the map as well. So.
Well, I feel he has to do some aggression, because at this point he's going to fall far behind if he's just trying to rely on these 2 bases. So
yeah, you can't outgreed double hatchery before pool with a delayed Nexus.
He goes into the 3rd gateway here.
The 4th, yeah?
Yeah, the 4th actually. So we will maybe see exactly the same thing. And now, of course, the question rather is how Live is going to play this, because San already saw that there's a 3rd base, and Live is getting all those Zerglings that we saw already in game number 1. The question being, will we see the Roachborn? And will we see it a lot faster than we saw in game number 1?
Yeah, and he has an extractor available. It's not like he can't mine gas. So if he chooses not to make a Roach Warren, he literally cannot make a single drone more. It's a 23 drones, a very good amount. The difference now is his 3rd hatchery has been done for a long time. He's got a lot more larvae, and something that may seem unintuitive for a lot of people is that when you go super fast double hatchery before pool, it doesn't mean you're necessarily playing more economically or more greedily. You simply have more production, which means you can be more greedy or more defensive. And that shows now. He's got way more links, and he can veer back into mass drones very, very easily. Why? Because he's got triple queen and triple hatchery ready already. So these kind of attacks don't work nearly as well, and that shows why it's such a powerful move for Life to have.
And one big deal here, killing both pylons. There is no war point for the Protoss player anymore. He was able to take down both of them, and that leaves Life in a great position here, where he already knows that he kind of negated the entire aggression that San was planning. San is following this up with a Stargate back at home, but at this point, Life is controlling the map, and it's so difficult. Like, what do you think San can now actually do here? I mean, he's trying to go for an Oracle, apparently, but at the same time, we have 3 Queens. I would expect Life to build additional ones. And right now, that Oracle, in my opinion, has to do a lot of damage if he wants to come back, because without any aggression whatsoever, Life just is controlling the pace of the game entirely.
Yeah, I think it's in a very dire straits for San, but it's important for him, mentality-wise, to keep his cool at least. It's just try and grab advantage in some other way and not play too impetuously here. What happened here is that, just like I told in the beginning of the game, there is no sweet spot for that pylon. In both games, Life found the pylon. His Zerglings told him what he needed to know. But in this game, he killed both, killed all the Zealots. That's the difference, really. It didn't snowball to the point where San could keep warping in units and Zealots. Because there's more open space here. So choosing that build here on this map, which we were already surprised about, is now proven to hurt San quite a bit.
And San is going into a 3rd base. He has, of course, that Oracle now on the map that can do some damage, and he's going to try to get into the mineral line. And there's not a lot of defense. We don't see a Spore Crawler just yet, and a single Queen can, of course, be taken out by the Oracle quite easily. But this 3rd base for San, I don't know, with the style that we see from Life in every tournament, I would be very surprised if he allows the Protoss player to take this base.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And he didn't... Oh, there's an Oracle in the main base of Life, by the way. That's killing a fair amount of drones. But yeah, he didn't even have his Forge finished yet as he took that 3rd. Very ambitious plan, so without cannons, it'll be pretty difficult to defend.
Life really wants to go into that main base. He is so eager to break through here, several times already attempting to go up that ramp.
And so far, San is doing a really good job with force fields, but more and more Zerglings are streaming in. 60 links on the field, 6 more coming out, and he just keeps pushing up there.
And he gets that Nexus. He actually saves the Nexus here. Really well played.
Yeah, very good defense there by San, who is momentarily supply blocked, but not a big issue. He's warping in a lot of extra pylons, and his Nexus is finishing as well. Oracle took it down 7 drones, and the worker count now, amazingly, is 47 for San and 47 for Life.
San is in way better position than I thought he would be, to be absolutely honest with you. I mean, he is still controlling that top of the ramp. He's still in a position where he can use those force fields. His Nexus did not go down. He was able to save the Nexus. Yeah. He has a cannon very well positioned here. The Mothership Core is there for a Photon Overcharge. I would have bet money that Life would be able to take down the 3rd.
Well, luckily you didn't get the opportunity, as San's force fields were very perfect, and Life banked everything on getting some damage done there. He would have been in a great position to be looking at sitting on 70 drones right now, but because he made all the links, he was so invested in making something happen. San said no, and Life said, "Aww."
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, that sound. 8 Harvesters killed by San so far, so that Oracle did some damage at least. And for Life, it's now the transition into not only the Infestation Pit, but also the Hydra Den. And Ling Hydra is one of his favorite styles against Protoss, but it's kind of a little bit late for what he usually does with this. The timings that he uses for that is much earlier than this, and it's just because Life was trying to take down the 3rd with Lings alone, which did absolutely not work out for him. And San right now decides that it's time to go into the Skytill's build. Drops double Stargate into it in addition to the one that he already has, and starts the Void Ray production back at home. So this is going to be really tough for Life to be honest. I feel that Life is not he's not ahead anymore. He's not in this position where we saw him earlier. You already said it. He could have just went onto like the drone production, get far ahead in economy, allow San that 3rd base, and just take the lead that he had. But as is with all the Zerglings on the map that didn't do anything, he kind of squandered that lead a bit. Yeah,
exactly. Squander is the name of the game here from Life, unfortunately. Interesting developments there with Life's tech choices. I'm not sure if you saw, but he went roach speed, which he now has without a single roach on the field, so we can consider that to be an option in case there was an early aggression from San. It's a wise investment because you might need it against big Zealot attacks. Then he went for Hydra Den and Infestation Pit, started Pathogen Glance upgrade for the Infestor for just a second, cancelled it, and then made 2 vanilla Infestors instead, and started his Hydralisks and ranged upgrades. So he just wants 2 Infestors to be support units in a way that infestors were never really used before. It was always no infestors or mass infestors. And so 2 infestors for support. I've never really seen this. Very interesting. And then making a whole bunch of Hydras and now Roaches as well. So let's see how these 2 infestors, never before seen in professional StarCraft, just 2, how they will work out. Because I find that to be a really interesting investment. Actually using them the way they were meant to use to pin down an army and kill them with real units.
I wouldn't be surprised if they die without casting a single fungal.
Die in a blaze of not glory.
Exactly, I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. Roaches are now being
I'd
added.
be so disappointed.
Yeah, I can tell. That's exactly why I think this is going to happen. We have a 4th base being taken by San now, and Life at the same time investing now into the additional upgrades for his Hydra list. He also has Roaches now on the map. So a Roach Hydra composition, which I find, I don't know, I feel this like a little bit cute. Exactly, because the problem that I have with this is that it scales very badly into the late game.
Yeah, and it's a big map, so
yeah.
Defender's advantage for Protoss is going to be really strong since Zerg has to rally their units across the map, including reinforcements.
I feel the strongest time for this is really the push that comes out for Life now, because we do not see the Colossi on the map just yet. The robotic spay is done though. But once Sun holds here, I don't think that this composition is going to do anything for Life.
But he has 2 infestors. It's going to work so well.
They're not going to do a thing, I'll tell you. Those are going to be the 2 units that die first without doing anything at all.
Let's see. Still, you can't place bets because we're live on air, so I can't take that one. There we go. That's a great fungal growth. And another one. Wow, it's super effective.
That fungal growth, the second one was actually really good, putting the stop to the Zealots for just a second. But here we have now the Void Rays, and well, Void Rays, pretty good unit. Well, that doesn't work for Life. I'm really sorry, but that composition was never really all that good.
Fell a bit flat on its nose. Maybe he needed 3 infestors. And now his army's getting chased away.
It was that lack of the 3rd infestor that really caused him to lose the last one.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. So the Zealot warp in here, taking down that 4th hatchery. A very nice counterattack by San, who also managed to save his 4th Nexus.
And it looks so easy, doesn't it? I mean, he just goes in with the Warp Prism, warps in around of units. Life already crushed with his own attack, suddenly loses the 4th base, was not able... Don't say it.
I won't say anything, go on.
Yeah, the 2 hero infestors are still at that 4th base.
Oh, I wish I could do some fungal on all the probes that come rallying in.
It's not gonna happen.
Oh my god, he missed the opportunity.
I tell you, those 2 guys are absolutely useless. Well, we have the Colossi now being built, and the fun thing is that Sun actually initially was poised to go into a massive air army with those 3 Stargates that he has, that he never really used.
Yeah, he just 1 Void Ray from each.
Exactly. So at this point, we have Live with the 200 supply. With 200 supply, he's maxed out. Sun is at 150, looking at Storm now to be completed. I feel what he does is a reaction to the army composition that Live chose here.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly right. And many players will feel uncomfortable ditching a plan that they originally started with. Wow, that's where are all the probes going?
All right. I'll take everything back.
But
the 2 infestors are awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot of people get stuck on these build paths that they start with, but very smartly he didn't go on with mass Void Rays because he felt like he needed the Colossi. Now, let's look at this fight. High Templars with Storm.
Oh yeah, and Storm
really
against Hydras in conjunction with Colossi. That is absolutely brutal for a Hydra composition, even if you have Roaches at the front. And San is still warping in units to defend those Nexi. He's still on 4 bases. Life is about to enter Hive Tech, but still, I like San's position here a lot, even though he's down in supply.
Now, the biggest chance I see for Life here are Mutalisks, but I think he's going to go Ultralisks. And that is pretty good too on a big map like this. It becomes very hard for the opponent to attack, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite tech choice from Zerg. Mutalisks are very effective on this map, especially since San has a very heavy ground-based army which attacks ground, like Zealots, Colossi, Archons, and so forth. But
we also have currently not really the upgrades that Life would need to go into an Ultralist transition.
There we go,
I mean,
Ultralist.
he's going for it, but I don't think it's going to be all that successful.
Yeah.
He has no armor upgrades just yet. He's just started the first one. The Vipers, on the other hand, I like them a lot here.
Vipers are good.
But I really think that he's going to have a problem since he has no upgrades whatsoever. Let's have a quick look at the upgrade count for Life. He's already at San. He's at +3 attack, and he's going into the first armor upgrades now on his own. So his army is completely out-upgrading what Life has on the map now.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel, a big, big problem for the Zerg player.
Yeah, Fleet Beacon is now on the way so that he can prepare Anion Pulse Crystals, the Phoenix upgrade, in case there's a Mutalisk switch, as well as getting ready for any Brood Lords as well, so that he can make Tempest. War Prism Shield, he's getting everything, the whole package deal, and Life now starts 5 Ultralists with 0-1 upgrades. Sure, he's working on follow-up upgrades, but they're going to be not even that effective against Colossus Archon Zealot, simply because of the upgrade disparity.
And keep in mind that we have a double Robo already on the field, so he can go straight into Immortal production if he really sees a heavy commitment by Life to Ultralist. And Life is also, he's neither getting Adrenal Glands, nor is he getting Chitinous Platings for the Ultralist at this point.
Yeah, and it's not like he doesn't have the money, so it's not just the matchup, is it? Is Life making mistakes here? I'm not sure what exactly he's doing. He's got a big bank.
Yeah,
but he's completely passive and forgetting the upgrades.
There's the Chitinous Plating a little bit later. But still, the more time he gives Sun, the better the army for Sun is going to be. And Sun identified what he's up against. That's why we now see the double Immortal production that I was mentioning earlier. And as you already mentioned with the Fleet Beacon that he has, the Anion Pulse Crystals will allow him to later transition into Phoenixes. He has those Stargates already, so he has everything prepared. He can always react against whatever Life does if he identifies it fast enough.
Yeah, double War Prism, great player by San, taking a book out of 4GG's, taking a page out of 4GG's book a little bit, attacking in 2 places at once with those warp ins. Now a bit of a problem is that doesn't have the supply to warp anything in. Guess his macro was too good with the Void Race and the Colossi. Zealot's now starting to move in here and will be met by Ultralisk.
Yeah, Greater Spire is also now on the way for Life, so he's really getting all the big high-tech units out. But San is on 200 supply now on his own, with very good upgrades, with a couple of additional Void Rays, with a double War Prism that you mentioned, trying to take down the Ultralisk Cavern. Transfuses by the Queen, saving it for now.
It's
close.
Will
it go down in the end? It's going to be very close here, indeed.
But it will get saved.
Wow, just with 85 hit points, not really a whole lot. Couple of additional swipes and would have gone down here. But here we have Tempest now also coming into the game. And I feel that Sun's army is just so much stronger than Life's. Life is a lot depending on like position. Whereas for San, with all the damage output that he has, Life has to really get a great engagement if he wants to win the big fight.
Yeah, and it's a very technical army from San too, well crafted, meticulously so, with a few Immortals, some Void Rays, some Colossus, some Archon, a lot of High Templar. Tempest now, he didn't go gung-ho on gateway units, which are good initially, because they can get warped in really easily, but they lose effectiveness in the bigger fights. He's got a very high-quality army. And during all of this, equal bases to the Zerg, thanks to the Prisms.
And Sana kind of has the army that if suddenly, for example, someone, like the genie appears on the map and tells you, all right, don't worry about the cost, just tell me what army you would like to have on the map. That's exactly
That's
it.
the one.
Exactly. That's the one that any Protoss player would assemble in this situation, and San has that army at his disposal. The Broodlords, of course, are going to be very annoying for him. I think that's something that he underestimates a little bit. He probably didn't realize that there is going to be a Broodlord transition just yet.
Well, he's got one Tempest, which can
one Tempest against
shots.
11 Broodlords. That's going to take quite some time.
But then he's got that ability to tide it through a bit with the Void Rays he has.
That's true.
See. He's got 4
Void Rays.
Voids.
The Storms are going to be strong with 11 High Templars in total.
So the Storms will chase away any Infestors or Hydras that will try to defend, and then the Void Rays can just shift-click on all the Broodlords. I'm really liking San's position here.
He gets a second Cybernetics core so that he can go into double air upgrades.
Wow.
And he has the resources to back that up. I completely agree with you. I like his position here. Life is also getting a very high-tech army out there, but still, with the economy that San has, I like the Protoss player's position much more. And now that he got rid of a bit of unnecessary supply, he's going in double Tempest production.
And Life should be doing the same thing. He's still got 5 Hydras, 5 Roaches, 10 Lynx, all of which are just taking away from his ultimate army composition. He would ideally like more Queens, maybe Corruptors, maybe Infestors, maybe even Swarm Host, anything but 5 Roaches.
Yeah.
He needs to get rid of them ASAP.
And he could also just get rid of a few additional drones. Well, he has a 63, so that's not too much.
He's got a big bank, I think you're right, because it will all come down to one fight. It's not going to be triple fight and Remax. San
is going for 2 additional Stargates. Even Remax with Mutalisk is going to be really tricky to pull off, since San will be able to build 5 Phoenixes at a time.
Yeah, very nice that you pointed that out, because as the game draws on and the banks of players grows, as he knows Life's bank must be growing, you need more and more Stargates in preparation. Because the Zerg, for the production capabilities, it's not just about how much money do you have for Phoenixes, you need them right away. Zerg can potentially do a 40 Mutalisk switch. It just doesn't cut it to make 3 Phoenix at a time. Those Mutalisks will go straight to the main base and start attacking the Stargate. So with 5 Stargates, he can be very ready for Mutalisk switch. So he's getting ready for the next fight after the first one. But to win the first one, Life needs to have fewer drones.
You know, thinking about what we have in terms of army composition, now that Life started to throw away his Hydralisk a little bit, what do we actually have to work against those Tempests? Not a lot. He's getting the first few Corruptors now, 10 at a time, but so far we didn't really have a lot of anti-air. And with more Corruptors coming into the picture, I feel it's going to be tricky to make that work with the Corruptor count that we see, because
either way, he's not going to win the air battle. He's only got 1 attack upgrade on air, and he's not even working on any more, despite having the resources.
We have +2 air upgrades already for San. We have the +1 armor. He's getting 2 at a time right now, investing into shields as well. With 4 additional Void Rays being built, the Void Rays are going to melt the Corruptors away, and I think those Tempests will never be touched by anything in the Zerg's army composition.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm really not quite sure why Life isn't upgrading his air anymore. He can't be satisfied with +1 in a game that drags on for this long.
And he has the resources, like he could do it. He could actually even go into double Spire upgrades if he wanted to.
Yeah, he should. He totally should. You need everything, every little bit that can help, and upgrades are not little. They're an integral part of your army, especially when it can't grow anymore.
Yeah, and we have now San with a +3 shield upgrade, with a +2 armor upgrade for our units, even investing into additional cannons, because he's looking at his resources like, yeah, what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to get a couple of additional cannons, so if he goes for a run-by, if he later makes a tech transition happen, I can still protect my bases. Of course, that new base that he gets over here is in need of a couple of cannons to just be safe against like small unit run-bys. Even a High Templar outpost here for a storm.
Yeah, maybe some Vipers fly over by accident, or Infestors.
There's the second Spire now coming up, so Life finally deciding to go into double upgrades for air units.
And hopefully for him, he will have that time to catch up in the upgrades. Second Spire and the attack upgrade there.
When do you think San should move out? Because considering that he has such an incredible army on the map, he is very, very passive, and he still wants to work on his composition. But when do you think is the perfect time for him to actually say, all right, I'm ready, let's go for it?
I think he can go already, kind of. Yeah, I think he can go already. He just finished a lot of important upgrades, and he's got the infrastructure to remax. There's no point for him to wait for these unimportant armor upgrades. And here he goes.
Yeah, already the Fungals are of course going to be an issue, and there's the Fungal already. Straight against those Void Rays, 3 Void Rays going down.
And it's not that San couldn't win the battle with the army that he has. He just didn't want to fight exactly there over a chasm. So that's 3 Void Rays picked off. Not a big deal. Immediately reproduced by San, and he will wait at least until he gets these 5 extra Void Rays.
This is still going up into one big battle that we're going to see. Life with more bases now at the bottom right, still working at his bank. He has a lot of gas here. The Vipers, on the other hand, are completely out of position, forgotten by the Zerg player, and that's the big deal. He needs those Yanks.
Finally, they come back in. That's good for him that he doesn't remember that. Leading up to the final battle for about a quarter of an hour, and then for getting 2 Vipers is a little bit derpy.
I feel that San probably checked the upgrades that we see for Life here, and he should have realized that we have very little upgrades for the air army. So I feel this is the best best time for him to be aggressive on the map as long as Life doesn't have these upgrades, as long as San has the lead.
Yeah, that's right. But of course, San ideally would like to fight off creep. It's something that Life definitely shouldn't do. Creep gives him vision, and it gives him unit movement speed.
How did the probe actually survive that? I heard the shot coming in from the Ultralist.
Twice.
But it never died. Well, there we go. Moving in with the Tempest immediately, getting the first few shots off. There comes the Storm. The 2 Yanks are good. A lot of those Void Rays immediately yanked right into the Corruptor range. Another Storm going down. Sun at 180 supply, immediately remaxing what he has there. But not really committing to the attack just yet. He doesn't want to go into a choke point.
And not bad by Life. He killed 3 Void Rays there, and I think he lost 1 Viper, an Overseer. I'm not quite sure what else. But of course, all they're doing is depleting each other's banks. In the meantime, Life should be satisfied with any decent even trades because he's still working on his upgrades. He's at 2-0 air right now, soon to be 2-1, and working on the next upgrades.
And San is getting more and more Void Rays right now. He's looking at 11 as we speak. Both of them, of course, maxed out. Army supply is very similar. 140 against 150. Here we go again. Great fungal on the entire army. Everything is being clunked up by the Storms, doing a lot of work here. Live remaxing with Mutalisk immediately, exactly as we predicted earlier. And those Tempests from the back, they do so much damage. Taking the Ultralisks apart, going strong against those Broodlords. And of course, we have those Void Rays melting away the Corruptors. They don't stand a chance here, but 41 Mutalisks are already on the production tab, and immediately San is starting his Phoenix production.
Yep, this is what we were talking about, Calder. The unit production that he needs, 5 Phoenix at a time. He knows this is a time to restart Mutalisk. Life knows that if he just keeps making the same army, the result will be the same. Protoss race is designed to win a fight like that. But Zerg has the production, so bam, there we go, 40 Mutalisks. They will start flying around on the map, but the Phoenixes are sure to be in close pursuit. 10 Phoenixes out on the map already.
Yeah, 10 Phoenixes so far. Actually, 5. He's completing 5 in just a second. The cannons here, of course, already doing a little bit of damage. Life doesn't want to fight those right away. He actually wants to take down those few Stargates that we have. If he can accomplish that, it would be great, but the Void Rays are moving in, and the Phoenixes as well, and as long as he can take down the Mutalisks here, he's going to win the game. San doing a lot of damage to High Templar, trying to get an angle and maybe drop a storm. More Phoenixes coming out of the Stargates here, and it looks like Life is going to lose his army and potentially the entire game since his bank is about to be completed. The Mutalisk count down to 15. The storm hits home, and San takes this army apart. Life in so much trouble. Down to 70 army supply against 112. The Tempest and the Void Ray still taking down bases at the bottom right. Great play by San, and GG. Life down 2 games in the best of 5.